Let's get into the meeting, call the meeting to order. First is the review of the minutes of July 29th, pages 2 through 4. The motion, please. The motion is second. Wonderful. Any further clarification, amendments, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Carried unanimously. All right, next up is report of the executive staff.
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a little brief on the executive update this morning, just to provide as much time on budget and executive session as well. As far as corporation update this morning, we do have a slide reminding you of our all-important annual event being hosted this year by 910 Cider Works. So that's October 28th, 5:30 to 8. You received multiple emails. Please RSVP as soon as you can identify you'll be available. What I also wanted to note, and I think Maria has noted this as well, as we will have professional photography there. So we would like to get as many of the board members present, just to have you present and enjoy the evening with us and celebrate the events of the year. But also so that we could potentially get a group photo if we can get a 20% attendance there, or as close to that as possible. So you don't want to be the one missing out. So you can use that in future marketing materials and otherwise to be able to recognize your involvement. Maria has also been collecting your individual photos to get them posted up on the website and have that updated as well, now that we have some new members as well, and wanting to get stuff updated from you folks.
Hey, Ashley, I know for me, there's the NISTAR annual summit is going on in Rochester those days. So I don't know, Sheila, if you're going to that.
Oh,
one,
nice,
but yeah, but so I will not be there.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Josephine.
Yes.
Yes, we felt like it was recognition of 910's 10 years plus in business, and also an ability to recognize Sonia's, prior commitments on this board for a number of years and be able to recognize that too.
All the above, really great.
So jumping in on additional activities, we did want to provide an update related to downtown retail funding on the business development side of the house. We have awarded more than 100,000 grants in 2025.
That's grants.
$100,000. Sorry. Yes, that is a good clarification to make. They are a busy team, but they don't do the caliber of 100,000. So we that's probably one of our highest years to date with downtown retail, if not the highest. So with that, our budgeted funding from the Capital Resource Corporation was a little under projected for downtown retail. So we did go back to Capital Resource Corporation, Finance Committee and Board and received board approval last week for an additional $25,000 for downtown retail funding to be able to carry that out for the rest of the year. We know there's a number of projects talking with us and in the pipeline. We want to be able to continue that program for this year. And then Andy, when he goes through the budget update, he'll talk about the grant requests for the future. But really, we're looking at a higher request over all three programs for 2026. Based on current volume of activity, the traction that the programs are receiving and the interest in the program. So all good news that folks are really wanting to reinvest in their businesses, take on new events and additional funding for that. And then I think after business development, I would have Andy jump in with a quick real estate.
Sure. So on the City of Albany IDA and CRC front, last week's board meeting, the IDA approved the $97 million investment into the south end, utilizing all the county land bank parcels and creating 166 units of affordable housing. On the CRC front, the CRC approved one of the largest bond issuances that has ever happened at that entity with Albany Medical Center for the refinance of existing debt and also the issuance of taxable and tax exempt bonds to the tune of about $400 million. So I'm very excited to be able to partner with Albany Medical Center. Just for their help them out.
And as I believe all of you know, since we just talked about the grants, the CRC fee revenue from the application that does drive funding for our grant programs. So with such a large bond deal for that, that does project that we would be able to have revenues from that application process to be able to see those programs forward into the future and meet some of the other funding gaps that will be addressed in the budget in terms of CDBG and otherwise related to grants. And I would be I want to recognize Andy's role in this as well as Olivia, who unfortunately couldn't be here. They're both instrumental on the IDA side in terms of IDA and CRC side in terms of those approvals and relationship building and really seeing forth those projects to fruition. So thank you for all of your hard work on that. And thank you to Olivia. She's listening from afar.
In general terms, what does that mean for revenue for us?
In terms of the CRC, the based on feedback from prior applications for larger scale projects, we re-examined our fee schedule to be a little bit more amenable to the type of entities coming through the CRC. So it's a tiered fee structure, but if the issuance is $400 million or higher, we expect in or around $1 million to the CRC.
Thank you.
I think it's one of our most important tools, obviously, in managing that partnership with the IDA is great. And obviously that fee revenue creates important economic development for the benefit of the city as a whole. So it's really super important. I appreciate that.
Allows our large institutional anchors to be able to be seed funding for our small businesses or small and medium sized businesses. So it's great on that front. I failed to recognize some of the guests that we have here today. So we have Allie Walsh in attendance. Many of you may already know, Allie is Vice President for Real Estate Development and Planning at Empire State Development. She manages redevelopment and reuse plans for a portfolio of closed state facilities, and her recent projects include overseeing the Prison Redevelopment Commission and producing a first of its kind report on how to repurpose closed correctional facilities. Allie has served on a number of roles related to Empire State Development and the Regional Economic Development Councils, her history and career. So we have her engaging in this discussion related to Liberty Park and supporting that process. We also have Eric Simons in attendance from CBRE Upstate. As you all know, Eric has been one of our real estate broker team for the Liberty Park redevelopment, so he's in attendance as well. Last but not least, we have our esteemed member of the press that just joined us. So welcome, Mike.
Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Very much appreciate that, additional support and advice from ESD. It's really important.
So I think with that, we'll jump into the budget next and we'll update on the budget. Due to quorum concerns, we were not able to hold a finance committee meeting this month. So this will be the first introduction of the budget to both the committee and the board. We would envision that this would come back to the finance committee in October and the board for review and approval at that time, so that we can meet all of our requirements statewide with respect to posting the budget on time.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, welcome.
Respectfully request anyone who wants to follow along, we're on pages 10 to 15 in the booklet. This will be an abridged overview in advance of the full finance committee presentation next month, as Ashley referenced. The 26 budget positions capitalize all and maintain momentum in the tuition driven program, absorb the completion of major external funding streams and some key building blocks of creation. Well, the year will generate funding deficit. We expect the reserve of investment income mitigate tuition risks, and the corporation is well positioned to pursue revenue opportunities. To backstop one of Ash's comments, one of the specific expense items next year that we're anticipating is $110,000 increase to the grant funding programs generally, and that's prior to any additional anything.
Like universal grant programs or any specificity here?
The way we ask for it from Capital Resource Corporation is that it covers all three of the grant programs. We do have individual allocations that we have as far as estimates internally, but we ask for it to be flexible so that when we come back to those boards, and we ask for the money to be drawn down, we will give them the specific amount at that point in time. So it covers downtown retail, amplify all the meeting and the facade. And the neighborhood retail.
So again, 26 really represents return to kind of operational normalcy for the corporation. Traditionally, at least for the last 4 years, we budgeted a deficit. It's an average of about $270,000. For 26, we're estimating a deficit of approximately $175,000. So we do that is less than so much it has been. But staff is pursuing efficiencies both operationally and financially to narrow that gap as much as possible. In the summary review, revenues are expected to increase by 13%. Expenses are expected to increase by about 23%. So it's going to generate a county deficit of $175,000. Yeah, we will work to close that goal. One of the biggest drivers is always staffing, salary, and benefits. It's only 2% of the budget in 25 value, but represents a 25 increase in 25, which again represents a return to full staffing. We're presenting a full finance committee review next month. Again, happy to take any questions, comments in the interim. This is kind of an iterative process, always for something to feedback.
It's obviously a very tough thing to do at our corporation because the run rate is a deficit, but we always have outlier events that are kind of episodic in one time that are significant due to significant project expense. And that's our challenge is for town staff to make that happen. And we look forward to having that evolve. How are you managing the interest rate environments? We have significant cash positions and cash relationships. We had 25 basis point reduction in Fed funds rate. Have you seen reductions in any of the and is that indicative of what we might expect at the dot plots or whatever you want to look at? Thinks that we're going to have any rate reduction through the year.
So the way prior with an effective funds rate, at the 23rd, 4.9. We recently secured a concession from primary cash management bank. So that's a locked in rate for short-term cash. We do have a great point scheduled to attend next month's finance committee. There's an overview of their interest rate strategy and expectations.
Yeah, so what's the difference between what we have at Great Point versus the traditional bank and credit union relationships?
I think it's the investments at Great Point are a little more probably broadly based.
I meant from a cap, how much capital is it each? And we have a lot of money just in local financials.
We do. We have between restricted and unrestricted accounts, approximately $5 million. Each of the banks is individually managing.
So how are you budgeting the interest rate reductions for our returns on that cash?
So we went through, actually, compared to what we were at, the interest rate return next year is expected to be top of. We've been unfortunately exceedingly low rate return for our cash management was, working to correct that throughout the year, we finally did reach an agreement. So the majority of the cash on deposit, we'll be receiving that through interest rate.
How long you say it's locked in? How long is it locked in?
It's an indefinite period, but we did receive a short-term commitment, at least till the end of the year. There's a material increase in rates. So budgeting for an increase overall, but that's really only relative to how we do it.
So we're increasing our returns on our cash for the planned rate part. All right, got it. Any questions? This is not for approval today, right?
No.
This is just for review, so it's not for approval, so we're gonna take this to the finance committee. And have a continued discussion about that and bring it back for formal approval at the following board. All right.
And if I may comment, I think it's important, given the public nature of what we do, to make sure that we add some commentary to the increase in expenses. Just reading the headline, you might look at that and say, wow, but I think the majority of that is because we're actually filling open positions.
Right.
So I think it's important that while we want to be brief, it would be, we would be missing significant context if we don't acknowledge how impactful that is to actually, you know, have all of our seats full.
I think that's fair, and, you know, so we've been managing our budget deficit either actively or just because by having open positions. And that's not our objective. Our objective is to have full staff, and that's where we have the full benefit to the city. So we intend to staff our open positions and run a full budget, which would create an operating deficit, which is what we anticipate, what we anticipated this year. If you look at our actual year-to-date results, we have some favorable outcomes, but largely through efficiencies through the internally. And ultimately, that's not our objective. Our objective is to be fully staffed, create project for the city. So that's what we should anticipate. And obviously, everybody knows the job environment, hiring the right people is critically important. So that might take more time than usual. However, we're committed to that. That's our plan. So that increase in expenses is largely filling the open positions. So we're your data actual funding. Michael's for them.
Adding to that, they should increase insurance expenses and, you know, some of those other things that are expected to just rising.
Yeah. So we have other business. Is that what we go to next?
Yes. So this is more of just an introduction and an FYI. As you all know, we do an annual review of our conflict of interest policy, and we have you all submit any of your potential conflicts of interest. So the form is in your packet. If Maria hasn't distributed it already by email, she will be. And following up extensively, we always get full response on those. We take this very seriously here at FYSL. And so make sure you get this form in, and if you have any questions on anything, you can consult counsel or myself, and I will bring it counsel. Tom's gonna probably jump in too.
Yeah, and these are sheets are. Once they're collected, they are formally reviewed by the governance committee, often in early November. And then the governance committee will, you know, go through them, determine if any conflicts may exist, and then they'll discuss those with the members. And, you know, it's possible, as we've had them in the past, where a member will be instructed, if this issue comes up, you have to recuse yourself, leave the room, leave the discussion, not participate in either the discussion or the decision. And so these are helpful. And as staff and I always stress, these are a static check. It's once a year, but obviously it's incumbent on the board members to realize that, you know, your employment or other board positions may change during the year, so that you should keep this in the forefront of your mind and thoughts as you come into the boardroom, and update staff to the extent that any of your positions change, because it does give both you and staff an opportunity to help the board members realize where a conflict may exist, because the staff may know more about what's coming to the board meeting on a particular day. And it just makes it easier to police. That's it. Thanks.
It helps us help you not vote where you shouldn't vote and leave the room where you need to. And also we ask that, like, if we miss something, make sure you're also thinking about it too when we're bringing up subjects that are relevant to all the various boards. You know, you're very committed and invested in the community on a lot of organizations, so we can keep this list, but please keep us apprised of that as well. It's not. Maria, anything else?
No, I will email out the hard copy to you guys so that you will have it, and then I'll ask for a due date. As they were saying, governance committee obviously reviews them in early November, so probably I will need them back by, I would say maybe the second week in October. So that we can do our due diligence and gather the information so that we present it properly for governance committee.
I think that closes the other business part of the agenda.
All right, Tom, so we're
Yeah, my understanding is that an executive session would be, if the board chose to do it, that you, entertain a motion and a second and a vote. And the reasons would be the potential appointment of a particular corporation, to discuss those matters. Specifically, that would be the Liberty Park RFP process. And then, a second to, seek and obtain, legal counsel. So those would be the two main kind of reasons.
Okay, so based upon those, considerations, we have a motion to go into motion. Have a second, please.
Second.
There's any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Then we have invited guests to,
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Yeah, maybe the board can choose to meet anyone in the executive session.
Michael, thank you.
So we need a motion.
I get a motion to come out of executive session.
We did, right? We did.
We did it?
No, I'd like to do it on camera. if I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
All right, great. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
And no actions were taken during things.
no action for taking. Wonderful. Okay, other matters for consideration for the board? Anything?
None today.
None today. Anything that anyone wants to bring up? Benefit of the group? I appreciate everybody's engagement. I appreciate the visitors. I appreciate the third party advisors. I really appreciate consultants' work. Thank you. The CBRE, great job. Thank you. And having support from the state of New York here in this really important process. It's valuable. Thank you for that. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.